may not be good for me, but I kind of like it. So give me a shout out if you're here. I'm going to wait for some people to show up. Send me a comment if you want to say hi. I'm going to talk today about why you should register your trademark. I was talking this morning with a man who had a trademark to register, but he just hasn't gotten around to it yet. And people tend to procrastinate this. Hi, Guy. How are you? Thanks for stopping by. People tend to procrastinate registering their trademarks, and sometimes what happens is they'll tell me, oh, I want to register X, Y, and Z for whatever, my goods, right? Let me just give you an example. Somebody wanted to register Mayhem for gyms. I'm not giving away anything that I shouldn't. This person never became my client, and it doesn't matter anyway, because I'm not telling you anything secret. So don't worry about that. I never tell my clients secrets. That's part of my job, is to keep everybody's secrets. Anyway, she said, well, I want to register. Actually, it was somebody who called me about one of their clients, one of their marketing clients. He wants to register Mayhem for gyms. And I said, okay, well, let me look. This was November last year. I want to register Mayhem for gyms. So I said, okay, let me look it up and see if it's available. And I said, yep, I don't see any conflicts. He can register that. She says, cool. He doesn't want to do it right now. He wants to wait. So I said, okay, he can wait. That's fine. And she came back to me about February, right? And she said, okay, my client is ready to go. I said, well, let me see. Let me check on it again, because it had been several months. And I don't know if people realize this, but there are literally thousands of trademark applications that get filed every day. How do I know this? Because the registrations are consecutive, right? So if I register something on Monday and then I go back in Tuesday, there can be, the registration number that I get is several hundred and sometimes more than 1,000 numbers higher. So that's how I know that thousands of applications are being filed every single day. Okay, so I went back and looked, and 3 weeks earlier, someone had applied to register Mayhem for gyms. And so I had to go back to her and say, it's no longer available. She said, well, what do you mean it's not available? And I said, well, it's not available. Somebody else got there first, right? And she said, well, I thought you said it was available. I said, well, in November, it was available, but now it's February and it's not available because somebody applied to register that exact mark for gyms 3 weeks ago. So I'm really sorry, your client's going to have to, pick a different name, pick a different mark. And she said, well, he already branded everything. I said, well, I'm sorry. I can't advise you to keep this name, because once this application turns into a live registration, your client's going to have to rebrand everything anyway. He can't just keep using it. Well, he can, but the fact is that pretty soon he's going to get a cease and desist letter. And, he's going to have to stop eventually. So it's better to rebrand now than to rebrand later. So, clients sometimes think I'm trying to push them to, purchase my services or whatever, when I tell them, don't wait to do this. But there is a reason why I tell them not to wait. And the reason is because I have had this happen to 3 clients over the past year, where they've come to me and asked me to check a mark for them, and it ends up being unavailable when several months or weeks later they decide, okay, now I'm ready to go. So sometimes people ask me, well, what if I'm not actually using it yet? What do I do then? And I say, well, we can actually apply to register a mark that you're not using yet. In other words, your business hasn't started up, but you've chosen a brand and you're getting all of your brand creation in ducks in a row, and you're creating the website and the business cards and the brochures and all the other brand paraphernalia. I don't really like calling it paraphernalia, but you're getting all of your branding done, right? So we can actually file a trademark based on your bona fide intent to use it at some point in the future. Okay, so in essence, what that does is it holds your mark for your use. It goes through the trademark application process, and then when you start using it, we file a document with the trademark office called a statement of use. And so what happens is your trademark proceeds normally. You file the statement of use, eventually it gets published for opposition, and then you get a trademark registration. You do have to prove use eventually, but you don't have to prove use when you file the application. So it allows you, in essence, to kind of squat on a trademark. And people say, well, can you squat on a trademark? Well, no, you have to use it. And there are some exceptions, right? So you can kind of squat on a trademark for a little while, but eventually you do have to prove use. Well, what if I'm not ready to prove use yet? Well, so what happens is we get a notice of allowance, okay? The trademark examiner says, yes, I don't see any problems with this mark. Go ahead and, you've been cleared for using this mark. So they give us a notice of allowance. That notice of allowance starts the clock running for a 6-month period, during which time we have to file a statement of use. What if we can't prove use in 6 months? Well, it's easy. We pay a fee and we get an extension. And we can get an extension for up to 3 years. So you can actually reserve a brand for your use during a 3-year time period while you're developing the brand, while you're doing market research, while you're doing other things before you're opening your business. So that is how you can actually reserve a brand. So the moral of the story is, if you want to lock down a particular name or phrase or logo for your business, then you need to file it. If you wait, there may not be the chance for you to get that registration, because especially if it's really catchy or really, really good, or people are talking about it, people are going to go in and register that brand if it sounds cool. I like to say all the good brands are taken. Okay. So you're going to have to be creative when it comes to creating your brand and picking a brand. And I can talk about that on a later live stream, like how to pick a great brand. But what I want you to know is, if you want a particular brand, don't wait to file. If you wait to file, you're running the risk that somebody else is going to register that brand or something similar for those goods or similar goods, and you're going to miss out on that opportunity. So this is Angela Langlotz signing off. If you have any questions, thank you, Joseph. I like this necklace too. If you have any questions about trademark law, leave them in the comments on my TrademarkDoctor.net page. And like my page, you will get a notification every time I go live if you like my page. And I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, to talk more about trademark law. And you can also find me online at TrademarkDoctor.net.